Hi friends, this is CC and welcome to Hobby Hands. In this vlog, we are going to do a build of this model, which is the HobbyBoss 1/72 scale Mi-2URN Hoplite. We will turn this into this. Getting very excited. Let's start building. So the first thing that we will build is the interior of the helicopter. A bit of all this as well, so we need those painted before we put the heli together. So there'll be all the interior bits, which is part of the cockpit. Let's get started. Parts are quite nicely molded, not much flash. Quite good for cleaning up. Instructions call for a little hole to be made here. Let's start painting it in this color, which is called an intermediate blue. Okay, now we've painted, so the next thing that we'll do is so we're coating all these parts with a clear gloss. One is to help the decals stick better, and the second is to help when we put a wash through the parts. I'll show you that soon. So the parts are now coated in clear gloss. So we'll put decals on. So there's a couple of decals that we need to put on. And these are for the instrument panels. These are the clear pieces for the heli. So what I normally do is I'll cut these parts out and dip them into a floor polish, which will give the parts a nice clear coating and makes the finish look like glass. So there's any little scratches and all that on the plastic, this will get rid of it. So just dip the whole thing inside. Shake off the excess, dot some of the excess off on kitchen towel. Like that. major piece. Same thing. Okay, and then we'll store it away. So with the heli interior, it's all painted now. So what I normally do is with the panel lines, I will run a scriber through a few times. This will make the panel lines a little bit deeper, and it's great for putting a wash through. So do it softly the first couple of runs. So maybe run it through about 3 or 4 times. So there's a needle scriber. And then there's the other scriber, or a scribing saw for certain surfaces. They're great. Just like that. Alright, all done. So these are the interior parts of the Mi-2's cockpit. The decals have gone onto the parts, as you can see. And now what we're going to do is put a wash through. This will give it a shadow and light effect. Alright, done. When the wash is dry, we'll take some thinner and a cotton bud, and what we do is clean up the smudges so that you get nice neat lines. Alright, perfect. Now that the wash is all cleaned up, we can give the parts now a flat clear, because that's a finish I like. I like it in a flat clear finish. So I spray all the parts now with a coat or two of flat clear. Okay, now it's all dry. What I do is, for the darker colored parts, I will highlight details on them. 2 ways. I can either do a dry brush, or in this case I'm using a highlight pencil. Probably a lot more convenient. So it picks up the higher areas while the wash goes into the recesses, and that gives it that shadow and light effect. So now let's assemble the cockpit of the heli. Quite a few small parts, so just have to be quite careful. already done. It's a cockpit floor and there's a cockpit ceiling. So the hoplite comes with a couple of machine guns which are in the interior of the heli. One on each side of the heli. So what I do is I take the parts and paint them in flat black. And after that, what we do is we'll pick out the details on the guns with a dry brush. I use a gunmetal color. Okay. And part 2, I'll highlight it even more with a tiny bit of silver. So what it does is it picks out all the high parts. So interior and guns have been painted. The windows have been coated. See how clear they are? So the first thing we'll do is put the windows into the frames. I pre-painted the frames in black. The window parts fit really well for this kit. The next thing we're going to assemble is the exhaust. We have to glue this in from the inside of the heli, and hence why we have to glue it in now. The fit is good as well. What I'm assembling now is the gun that goes on the inside of the heli. And there you go, the gun's actually been assembled into the heli. And that's all for the other side. Alright, so what I do now is just before I put the parts together, I'm going to clean all the clear parts with a little bit of window cleaner on a cotton bud. Next thing we're going to do now is to put the cockpit parts, to assemble the cockpit parts into the fuselage. We'll complete the cockpit first into one piece. And leave it to dry, and once it's dry, we get ready to put it together. So what I am going to assemble here is the beginnings of the rotor blade. So the shaft goes onto the rotor arms. Just be careful of the direction you put the shaft in. There's a long side and a short side. Let's now assemble the cockpit parts into the fuselage side. Again, fit is really nice. And we'll put in the rotor blade head. Alright, let's now start to put the two fuselage halves together. Alright, here we go. Let's start gluing. As you can see, I've also got some masking tape prepared. And that's what I use it for, to hold the two halves together. Some parts I'll use a cloth peg. There we go, now it's done. The two heli halves have been joined together. And as you can see, there's a bit of a gap, or the seam lines are actually quite visible. So what I do now is use putty on the seam lines. I use a liquid putty. Alright, and after that, what I do is start to sand the joints which have been puttied. I start with a 600 grit, move down to 800, a 2000, and end up with a 6000 grit sandpaper. After sanding, I will check the seam line, make sure that it's smooth. And there's a lot to be done. So if you look at this picture, you will see that the main gear is closer to the front of the heli, and it might mean that the heli might become a little bit tail heavy. So what I'm going to do is we might put some weight into the front of the heli to make sure that the heli sits on the nose gear. So we'll cover the two little holes in that top fuselage part. Alright, this is what I use. I use weights, which I then put glue. It's a kind of super glue that I put in and leave that to dry. Alright, now I'm going to assemble the front of the windshield. Again, the fit is really nice. A few of the small details. Alright, there we go. That's the front of the heli, and it's got the weights all dried up, and this bit is going to be stuck to the front of the heli to provide some kind of ballast, and the heli will sit up on its nose gear. Like that. Use a piece of masking tape to hold the piece in, like that. Alright, when it's dry, peel off the masking tape and just check. Looks pretty good. Starting to take shape. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mask all the glass parts. We're almost ready to paint. So when I'm doing masking, I make sure that I've got a sharp knife. Which will cut the masking tape easily and cleanly, like that. And I use a little toothpick to get rid of any bubbles. Done. Let's have a look. So you can see all the masking has been done. I've stuck some masking inside the door as well, so that when I paint, little bits of spray, the paint spray does not go inside and ruin the glass pieces and the details that we've done for the cockpit. So let's get ready to paint. So I'm going to do is firstly paint the front clear areas with the interior color of the heli. And after that, I will cover the heli with the exterior colors. So this is the intermediate gray. And now I'm starting to paint the colors of the heli. I've decided to do the camouflage. And what I do normally is paint the darker color first. In this case, the dark brown. So I'll spray that on. I do camouflage by freehand. And now, as you can see, the whole heli has been painted in both the camouflage colors. Heli has also been given a clear coat or two. This helps when I do the next step here, which is putting wash into the panel lines to make the panel lines stand out. Again, it gives it a shadow and light effect. Like that. Alright, and I got to do for the whole heli. So now I will clean up the excess wash with a cotton bud dipped in some thinner. Now all done. So painting, gloss and wash. So the next step I'll do is to stick on the decals. With the complex surfaces, do it slowly. Make sure that the decal sticks. Alright, now all the decals are on. What I do is give the whole heli a coating or two of clear gloss. This is to protect the decals. When the clear gloss has dried, I will then spray the heli all over with a flat clear, because I like a flat finish to my models. all done. So you can see the parts are all flat and painted. With the dark parts now, again, that's what I did before. I will use a highlight pencil and draw out the details, and where I've made mistakes, an eraser works well. There you go, you can actually see the lines, pick out the details on the heli blade, makes it more interesting. Alright, let's start putting the heli together. Putting on the wheels. At this stage, I'm going to remove the door of the heli. You'll see why in a second. Alright, those removed. And we remove the masking that we put in earlier. There you go. And we can stick the door back on. Again, the fit is really nice. Putting on the landing gear now. Front landing gear. First I'm sticking the wheels on to the landing gear struts. Alright. Okay, so most of the heli has been done now. As you can see, the details all in. The color looks amazing. So what we do now is put in the rotor blades. So this is the tail rotor blade. Stick on. Unfortunately, it's too small to assemble it so that it can turn. You just have to stick it on. Alright, now the main rotor blades. There's the rotor blade hub. Just be careful about which direction you put the blades on. In this case, I do a dry fit first because there's a bit of rather delicate parts there. I don't need the parts breaking on me. Amazing fit again. You can just about see the droop of the blades. glue the rotor hub onto the heli proper. Almost done. There it is. And glue that tiny top bit, and the heli rotor actually turns. Amazing. It's all done. Alright, here we go. Everything's dried now. So the last step that we'll do is to remove the masking for the windows. We do it very carefully as we don't want to scratch the finish on the windows. There you go. Nice and clean. There you go, one side's done. And now everything's done. You can see all the masking has been taken off. And that's the heli. Final thoughts. Pretty good model to build. The parts all fitted quite nicely. So the only thing that I'll say is the tail rotor blade can't turn, but that doesn't matter. Quite happy with the results I've achieved here. So all good fits. There you go. Put it on the turntable. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this vlog. Please subscribe to my channel and give me a like. Thank you so much for watching.